everyone, welcome back to Show Me How to Win. We're at San Diego Comic-Con and we're checking out the demo area. And I know Matthew has been here for the past 3 years demoing Red Dragon Inn for SlugFest game, and he's an expert gamer for this game. So I'm gonna ask Matthew for some tips on how to play and how to win at the Red Dragon Inn. So Matthew, for folks who hasn't played this game before, how do we play Red Dragon Inn? What kind of game is it?
Yeah, so Red Dragon Inn is a game of drinking and gambling. You're playing as adventurers, trying to either drink your friends under the table or gamble all the money out from under them. And so it's a lot of back and forth, a lot of different actions that we can take in order to basically kick everybody out of the inn.
Yeah, and there's player elimination in this game, right?
Yep. If you pass out, the inn takes half your money and drags you upstairs, and if you get your money gambled out, they kick you to the stables. So it's very much a last person standing.
Okay, so I actually own this game, but for me, it's a little bit random. So I'm gonna ask Matthew about some of the tips he can give me. But I know, first and foremost, you don't want to make enemies in this game, right?
Correct. Yeah, this game is very much a politics-driven game. One of the things I recommend to people is to always be a part of the conversation. You want to be constantly talking, who's the target, who's got the most money, who's got the most health, and that can help you deflect from yourself, but also that helps you have other people spend their cards on your opponents as well.
My experience is when everybody starts, everybody's trying to even out the drink. Okay, so you get a drink. Okay, oh, you haven't gotten a drink yet, so I'll buy you a drink. But once somebody does something to someone, then that person can become a target real quick, and everybody just pile on the drink, and pretty soon that person's drunk.
Yeah, it's definitely, you want to be fair at the beginning. You want to be like, oh, I'm just going to hit you, but then I'm going to hit somebody else so that they're not trying to crack back as much. The other thing is the first person to win gambling, if they win big, is a big target. In fact, I actually recommend in some cases, if you can afford it, if there's not too much gold on the line, lose your first gambling and then immediately start targeting the person with the most money. Because if people start running out of gold, the first person they look to kill is the person that can give them cash.
That's a great tip already. Okay, so do you have any other tips for us?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things I recommend is become familiar with the drink deck. Every drink deck has a card which will tell you all the cards in it. Have an idea. Other than give a quick scan through of your deck as well, just so you know what's to expect.
Okay, so there are different kinds of cards in your deck. They're somewhat similar. You have the gambling card, you have the buy a drink card, that kind of thing, but every character has unique abilities, right? So what are some of your favorite characters to play?
Yeah, well, one of them, and it's obviously one of the strongest characters, is Captain Whitehawk. And what's really good about this character is they have a lot of cards that have responses. So somebody's going to spend a card to try to come after you, and you're gonna hit them back, you're going to neglect, you're going to defect, and eventually they kind of give up because they feel like they're wasting their cards on you, which is great because then at that point, people know that if they target you, they're going to get some back, and they'll go for other people first.
So when you're playing Captain Whitehawk, you want to act like, you sure you want to target me? Because, this card right here, you don't want to...
And there are some characters that, like Fiona's a good example. There's characters where it's really just about pick a player and just start punching them down because you can't split the damage out because at that point you just might start losing on your weak points. So figure out, are you a gambler like Kronos? Are you a fighter like Fiona? Or maybe you're just somebody that's supposed to sit back and hold up answers and then really just go full into that side of your character.
Because it is kind of an endurance race.
Yeah, the number two thing I tell a lot of people is this game is about politics first and hand management second. You need to be discarding cards so you can get through your deck quicker. You want to be able to have an action card, but you need to have an answer for a drink. You need to have an answer when someone comes to hit you, because as soon as somebody punches you and you don't respond, everybody else knows you're an open target, and you're likely to die in the following turns.
How about gambling? So you mentioned that maybe you don't want to win the first gamble, but what if I'm trying to win gambling?
So when you're trying to win gambling, really think of it as a game of chicken. You want to play the last possible card. So look around at the other people's hands. People with a lot of cards in their hand are going to have a couple of cards. Let them play them first. Keep passing. Act like you're tapped out of cards. And then once everybody feels like they've got it locked down, then you play your card, catch everybody's surprise, and a lot of times you can sneak a gambling through that way. The other one is the winning hand is a big power card because it can only be beaten by cheating. So if you wait, let everyone burn through their cheating cards early, then play the winning hand, you're generally going to almost guaranteed to win that particular round of gambling.
So sounds like you really have to make sure, pay attention to what other players are playing, making sure that you're paying attention to how they respond, and make sure you have the cards you need before you take on the task of gambling, right?
Yeah, very much. You know, you can get lucky with some hands where you have all the answers or you have all the tools for gambling, but a lot of times you're going to be short-handed, so you need to figure out ways to distract other players or cheat your way into not having to spend your cards until it's absolutely necessary.
So, I know there's a ton of expansions for this game. How many characters are there?
Oh gosh, I believe we have about there's 45 or 48, I believe, and they just keep coming. And we actually, the most recent thing they did was make a second giant box just so that they would have room for all the new characters they have coming.
The second one?
Yeah, so they have, and I've already filled my first box, and you know, and I feel all of the characters are very playable. There are some that are a lot stronger than others. I know this one, the Pirate expansion with White Hawk in it, has some of the stronger characters, but I've been playing in tournaments for 3 years, and I will just randomly pick one and say I'm going to run this for the whole tournament, and oftentimes that's usually good enough, and I can make it work with any character as long as you understand their strengths and you can politic your way with the other people.
So maybe once you pick a character, before you actually start playing, go through make sure you know what the character is about before you start playing, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I like to know, you know, how many gambling cards do I have. You know, how many dodges do I have? What kind of damage can I deal? So that, I know when I'm looking at my hand, because at the beginning of your hand you get to discard and draw, I can pitch a bunch of cards so that I know I might be able to get those signature cards from my character. And then if I also, you know, the more characters I'm familiar with, the more I know what other people might be holding in their hand. If I see them holding a thing, I know they're going to try to ignore a drink, and I know I have I can spike their drink. So, you know, really understanding your character. If you pick like one or two main characters initially when you're starting out, I think you'll find that you'll be a lot more successful than if you just keep kind of going around with different characters.
Great tip. So we already know you like set number 4. Is there another set you recommend?
Another one that I really like is the one of the newer ones, which is the Villains one, which is set 6. I like it because it adds a boss mode, which is a 1 versus all that you can play, and also adds teams. And doing teams is great because when you play in a team mode, you and your partner can each have an edge. He can be the gambler and you can be the fighter, and that all comes with that one set. So I like that additional content as well, and the characters are very flavorful.
I didn't even know they made a set like that, so maybe I should pick it up because I think I have 2 and 3. And because, you know, like that's like 8 characters, right? So, you know, and it plays 4 people. You can have a big party, but it usually end up dragging too long. But like this way, at least you can mix and match. But number 6 adds a new game mode. Yeah,
it adds the boss mode. It also adds a dungeon deck, which is basically events that will trigger throughout the game, which is also a great way to mix it up. So you may know that, oh, hey, this guy keeps punching me, but who knows what the event deck is going to do. And the drink deck is really cool. It has a lot of unique drinks that aren't in any of the other decks. So that's a recommended starting point. If you're newer to the game, I recommend starting with 4 because it has basic characters without too many abilities, and you can get familiar and really practice the politics and the other side of it first.
All right, cool. So thank you, Matthew, so much for showing me Red Dragon In, and thank you guys for watching.